In my limited amount of time, I'm going to focus on two of the 29 schedules, Schedule 2 and Schedule 18. And I just want to say before I begin speaking on Schedule 2 that every time I walk into this house, even though it's been 2.5 years, I sort of pinch myself. It's a real honor to walk into this place. And I've been finding it a big challenge over the last few weeks. Every time we have to discuss Canadian Christian College, I just can't believe that we have a piece of legislation that grants degrees or proposes to grant university degrees to somebody who spouts out the homophobic, Islamophobic, transphobic, and hate that Charles McVety spouts out. I can't believe that we are considering this for somebody who denies climate change and actually says that it's part of a cabal of one world government somehow. I got a call last week from and met with the Ontario College and University Faculty Association, who told me that they were deeply disturbed that somebody who likely violates the anti-hate and anti-discrimination rules of the Ontario Human Rights Commission could be granted degree-making authority. And so the minister over and over again hides behind a process. And yeah, we can have a process, but you know what? This should not be. Schedule 2 should not be in Bill 213, period. Separate the process from what this says to the people of Ontario. It pains me. It pains me that we even have to debate this in this House, because I know we are better than this. I know the people of Ontario are better than this, Speaker. I want to briefly talk about Schedule 18. I support giving municipalities more power when it comes to granting water-taking permits for new and expanded permits. But I asked the government to amend Schedule 18 to include the same rights to First Nations. First Nations treaty holders should have the exact same rights when it comes to granting permission for water taking that local municipalities have. That's part of the Truth and Reconciliation process, and I think it's an important amendment. I would also ask the government to amend it to include adjacent municipalities. I can tell you in Guelph, there are a lot of wells around Guelph that technically are not in Guelph, but they certainly affect our community's water. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Questions? The member for Barrie Innisfil.
Thank you. I wanted to ask the member opposite, obviously he has a lot of businesses in Guelph who often, I imagine, would come to panels and roundtables to talk about ways to reduce burdens and ways this member could help him. And so I wanted to ask him how many, in terms of the population of Guelph, of the total population, how many small businesses does he have in his riding, and what he's heard from them, but more specifically, how many people, in addition to the how many small businesses you have, but how many people in Guelph are employed by small businesses?
Response, member for Guelph.
Member opposite's question is a longtime small business owner in Guelph. I can tell you that on a per capita basis, Guelph has more small businesses than almost any other community across Canada. And the vast majority of our citizens are employed by small businesses, though I will have to say that the largest employer in Guelph is Linamar, a company that the Premier often talks about, which I wish they would help, actually, while we're at this on Linamar. I would really hope the government can work with Linamar to help them around electricity pricing and not penalize them for some of the great things they've done for behind-the-meter ways in which they can save electricity, and some of the changes the government has made has actually hurt their bottom line and cost them millions of dollars. So I'm happy to continue this conversation about how we can support a business like that in my riding.
Further questions? The member for Humber River Black Creek.
Thank you, Speaker. Part of the title of this bill is called Smarter for Business, And it's interesting and almost ironic because the businesses that I'm hearing from in my constituency have had a lot of complaints about the fact that they don't feel that they're helped or supported during the pandemic. For instance, in the midst of a ban on evictions, there's no enforcement capabilities. So I've had businesses, individuals sleeping overnight because landlords are coming in and changing locks. What are your businesses saying about the government, and are they helping them?
Response, the member for Guelph.
I appreciate the member's question. And, you know, one of the things that I thought we would see in Bill 213 was an extension of the commercial eviction ban. Now, I realize it has subsequently come out in another bill, but back in October, when businesses and small businesses in my riding were extremely concerned about being locked out, they were pleading for a commercial eviction ban at that moment. And unfortunately, it wasn't in this bill. The other thing they're asking for is they're asking for clarity. They're tired of the premier dithering around whether we're going to have lockdowns or not, and they're just like, give us clarity, and if we need to lock down to save lives, we'll do it, but then provide us with the financial support we need to stay alive. We're here to save lives, but you also have to provide us a lifeline to
Response.
keep businesses open.
Question, the member for Niagara West.
Thank you very much, Speaker. And actually, to return to the comment from my colleague earlier, could you talk a little bit more about what that actual per capita basis is? I know you mentioned that they have the highest, and I'm just wondering what that number is first. And then secondly, I know that the budget that we've introduced also intends to create a subclass for small businesses, and I'm wondering if you're going to be working to advocate for that in Guelph, for a subclass for the small businesses in Guelph to ensure that they're supported with electricity and, of course, property tax, which you mentioned, I believe.